no. Yeah, well, yeah. It's a gift from my
No,
kid. It's a water pistol. Looks like a gun.
739 maple.
Okay. Well, you want to die today?
No, but my neighbor probably does.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. The more I think about this tiny home movement, the more it really starts to create a movement within me.
Well, I will say, here is my application.
I have a connection, is what I'm saying.
I like to really consider things. You know, if I read a book from a certain perspective, I like to adopt that perspective for a moment just to see what it feels like. So the practical thing, because I do think it would be very difficult to talk my wife and children and myself, let's be honest, into actually doing this at this stage in my life. But the main thing that I learned from watching these videos, because I watched the duration of all of these videos, I recommend it, by the way. All the links will be in the description of the main channel video. But these space-saving things could be done in normal homes. Like, these people have this bed. This one dude has a bed under a desk, and then I didn't even get into this one. It was just in the research. Mm-hmm. He's got a desk that then is a keyboard. It folds up, and there's a keyboard. And then in his whole house has these little basically holes that look like something on a ship, and he actually got this idea from sailboats. The guy designed this whole thing. And he has this table that can be put in different places, and it transforms the room based on where he sets the table. Just little things like that, like
really?
Efficiency, the efficiency of use and of space. We could do that in normal size homes, and then it's like you got a huge home inside of a normal size home, not just a tiny home.
You could build a tiny home in your extra, like your upstairs. You know how there's people who've got that upstairs room, they don't know what to do with it? Build a tiny home inside.
Well, and this weird stuff like foyers.
Inception home.
You know, foyers or foyers.
That's so pointless.
You know? And then some houses like, back in North Carolina where there's a lot of land.
Space.
And there's a lot of space. You know, you'll go up in somebody's upstairs and there'll be like a landing area. What am I gonna do? I'm not landing a plane there. What is the point?
You're gonna look down.
They never sit there.
You're gonna stand there and like perform a toast to all the people in the party downstairs.
There's never a moment in one of those houses that's got one of those like 20 by 20 landing areas at the top of the stairs that anybody ever does anything there, except maybe like when they have like a sleepover and all the kids are like, let's sleep in the landing area. You know, you don't have to do that.
But the movement that started in my body
ended in the shower.
Was as a kid, this is very reminiscent of hideouts. You know, you remember
forts.
You would come over. You called them forts. I called them hideouts. Where you would come over to my house and
you were hiding from something, and I was defending something. I got a hideout.
Yeah, I was guilty. I was guilty.
You had done something.
One such I built a lot of hideouts, or I would find them in the woods, like those twins that lived 4 doors down in the woods behind their house. They built a tree house.
The Tolsmans?
No.
You got 2 sets of twins on the street?
The red-headed guy twins with all the freckles. Schumann, not the Schumans, but I can't remember their names right now.
Who lived in my old house? The Millers?
No, dude. My neighborhood.
Redhead twins? I didn't know about?
Guys, don't get your hopes up.
That's not.
It's not girl twins.
That's not.
I'm into girl twins, man.
It just seems like.
As a kid,
it just seems like you would remember redheaded twins of any gender. That wasn't.
I do remember them. I'm talking about them.
Okay. Yeah, those guys.
I just don't remember their names. They abandoned their treehouse, and I started hiding out in it.
You were a squatter in a treehouse.
Yeah. It was like the Unabomber or something up in there. But I wasn't guilty of anything, just to clarify.
Yeah. You didn't write a manifesto.
My stepdad at the time, Jimmy, he moonlighted as a plumber.
He could do a lot of things, including throw gas on bonfires.
That wasn't him. Anyway, at one point he must have gotten a huge.
It wasn't Jimmy.
Hot water heater, in like a crate. And then, but all I know is that there was this huge crate in the backyard, and it was one of those
wooden crate.
it was a wooden crate, and it wasn't solid. You could see through it. It wasn't like an African lion would be in there, and you'd like pop out the top like Jurassic Park and see like a velociraptor or something. Had slats to be like empty space.
It was
slats.
like pallets put together.
Yeah, it was like pallets put together. And even though it was just as see-through as a Ziploc bag, I determined to make that into my hideout.
Yeah.
And we had an old weight bench back there, and I took the cushiony part that you lay on in order to the bench part.
Yeah.
And I took that off and I put it inside of the crate.
Make a bed.
As like a sofa.
Did you sit on it?
I sat on it, yeah.
You didn't invite me over for
this thing was, I mean, I was a kid, but if I was 6 foot, which I am now, and so relative to what I am now, like the height of it would be like here. So I had to crawl down, and I would have to like crawl in that thing and sit down like this in order to get in the hideout.
And what did you do when you were in there?
And then once I got in there, I was like, well, I can sit here, or I can put like a blanket here and I can lay down. So I can sleep here, or I can sit here. And then it'd be nice if I had a television, but I don't have an extension cord long enough to bring an old television out here. But I can install indoor plumbing because my stepfather is a plumber and there's pipe laying around everywhere. So I found this pipe and I ran a pipe into one side of the thing, and there was my plumbing. And so...
But what went in or out of the pipe?
Pee. I peed in the pipe from inside of the hideout.
Did you not... But you got to have a slope on the pipe, and it has to go to something.
I learned that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a civil engineer for a while. I know that.
Right. So I would kind of have... In order to create the slope, I would kind of have to stand up.
You'd
and
hold
bend
the pipe
all the way over and then hold the pipe.
And then where was it going? Into the ground somewhere outside?
Into the grass.
Yeah.
In my neighbor's yard. Yeah, because it was
twins?
Right, it was right on the edge of our property line, and
marking
so
your territory.
I would
take
pee.
that pipe and go.
The pipe
That's
was way,
the property line.
The pipe was
where
way
the grass is dead.
The pipe was way too long to pick up.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a long pipe. So then,
so you're like, how you getting pee in there? You're laying on your side?
I'm standing up and bending totally over and peeing into a pipe. And just imagine.
I don't want to visualize.
Just imagine my mom looking out the back window of the house.
What is he doing to that pipe? I'm just peeing in it, Mom. Okay, well, I have a slightly.
No, so I didn't invite anybody over.
Yeah, I don't remember you asking me to pee in that pipe or anything. Now you do remember the fort.
There was no shower.
That Ben and I
made. If it rained though, and I was peeing, it would have been like I was using the bathroom and taking a shower.
You remember the fort that Ben and I made later, a little bit later.
You made many forts.
But about probably 6th or 7th grade, Ben was like, we need to make an A-frame house. And I was like, yeah, an A-frame. I had no idea what he was talking about. But we built the A-frame, and then we put a thatch roof on top of it with mud, and that roof lasted 5 years. Like, well into high school, there was still this roof that he was just smart. He just knew what he was doing.
And once you build it,
we camped in there one time.
You camped in there like once, and then
the grass grew up, and then we were like, there's probably snakes in there now, and then we just looked at it.
And it was in like an empty lot in like in
Keith Hills Country Club. If you've ever been there, now there's a house there. They've turned our A-frame into an actual home. Sad days.
I mean, with these tiny homes, just food for thought. Instead of having a toilet at all, just run a pipe through the window
into the neighbor's yard.